Hello and welcome to episode 34 of the Project Bag podcast. On the show for you this week, I have not one, not two, but three finished objects to share with you. My whipboard is slowly but surely reducing in size. I went to Unravel a couple of weeks ago and I share some of the goodies that I picked up. And it's time for a good old chinwag. I talk the future of the project bag, share with you my sketchbook impressionist box from February, and just catch up really. Hello, how are you? It's been ages again. I seem to be doing these monthly-ish, depending on how recording goes and editing. I was in two minds about whether to even record this one because although I've got lots to show you and I really wanted to sit down and have a chat, the laptop that I do my video editing on has completely given up the ghost. Every couple of days it lets me do something, but as you may have seen on the previous podcast, it actually cut the last 10 minutes completely that I had edited. And it included all sorts of chat and bloopers and, you know, lovely things like that. And I was really despondent having tried so hard to produce something that was kind of next level for me, you know, ratcheting up the skills of editing, and I'd spent hours doing it, and I just thought, well, what's the point if I'm going to record and then it's just not going to work. But the new computers should be arriving within the next week, which means that within the next 2 weeks I should have a reliable operating system on which to edit. However, I was in the mood to record today. It's beautifully sunny. It's the 2nd of March, Monday. It's the first properly spring day that I've actually been able to, that we've had, that I've actually been able to enjoy. Yesterday I was at work. It was a great day. I love my job. I got to work with Renee Callahan. I hosted while she taught double knitting at the yarn dispensary, and that was lovely, and everyone was in a good mood because it was sunny, and that was wonderful. But actually to sit in my own home in my lounge, which is a really lovely sunny space, I'm sort of looking out the window at the sunshine at the moment while I'm talking to you, which probably is driving some of you utterly mad, but it's so strange to be able to see out of the window and to see the sunshine and blue sky, and it's getting to that time of the evening where the sun's starting to set and the lights all beautiful and glowing off the walls in the living room. And I just thought, I'm in such a good mood, and how often do I get a chance to actually sit and talk to you? Puppy is asleep, so yeah, maybe we'll just go for it. Maybe the sun will shine on us and we'll have the luck and be able to do this. I actually realised I said I had 3 finished objects at the start. I have 4, one of which I can't show you because it's not in my possession and I haven't got a photo of it. But yeah, 4 finished objects. I have had help in finishing them, namely in sewing up. My lovely colleague, my employee, Vic, who is an incredibly hard worker, an incredibly nice person as well, is sewing up some of these things for me. It was actually Vic that sewed up the 5 p.m. cardigan and Vic that sewed up the simple sweater, although with much hilarity, and we had a great time at Unravel. We went together. We went as a kind of staff training day for the shop, and helps me out a lot with Magnus as well, an all around very good egg. So yeah, so thank you, Vic, for helping me something to talk about. Right, so let's get on with it, shall we? I've realised I've forgotten to actually introduce myself to any new viewers that might have stumbled upon this podcast. I usually drink tea or coffee, but I haven't had a day off in 6 days, well, since last Monday, and I was just in the mood with the sun to have a little cheeky glass of rosé, so I hope you don't mind. Whatever beverage you are enjoying this afternoon, here's to you. Here's to 2020. Here's to finally getting this podcast back on track. We can but hope. For those of you that don't know me and have stumbled onto my podcast and are still here, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for trying it out. I'm Gemma. I live in Kent with my husband and our 2 cats and puppy. The cats are Archie and Kitnine and the puppy is Magnus. And by day I run a yarn shop in Faversham in Kent called the Yarn Dispensary. It's beautiful. I'm super proud of it. I'm very, very lucky to be able to work there in a very effective team. And by night I am the project bag. I get home, do the whole adulting thing that you have to do with sorting out the housework and things and cooking a meal, and then I do stuff for the project bag, or on a Monday. But as I say, I've been really busy lately, so today all I'm doing for the project bag is recording this. The project bag provides tuition, I dye yarn and I make project bags. I also have designs, and I'm just waiting on hearing from my tech editor about my most recent pair of socks, which have been in the works for well over a year. It's one of my goals to be more efficient with designing, and to that end I actually have a new cast on as well, but it's a design so that doesn't count, right? I've also been doing some crochet, and yeah, the Facebook group is more multi-craftual. We talk about all sorts of different things there: beading, paper craft, embroidery, sewing. Here I tend to stick to the fibre arts, so it's knitting, crochet and whatever I'm doing in that area, in that realm. So I hope you enjoy. All the places you can find me will be listed just down there. I am on Instagram, I am on Facebook, I have a website, and obviously you found me here on the podcast. If you do enjoy yourself with me today, I'd really appreciate it if you consider hitting the subscribe button and possibly giving me a thumbs up too. Right, let's get on with it then, shall we? On to finished objects. Now, none of these I actually have to show you physically in my hands, because all of them are being used in the Yarn Dispensary as samples. However, I do have some rather fabulous photographs. If you follow me on the Yarn Dispensary, you will probably already have seen them, but I'm going to talk about them anyway. So first up is a pair of socks. In the last podcast, I'd finished my dad's socks, which have now been gifted. They're bright green. They were knit on straight needles. I personally wouldn't knit on straight needles again for socks. I mean, it's more intuitive to me to knit in a tube and easier to construct on 2 circular needles, which is my preferred method. Knitting flat, you have to do some fandangling and put things on stitch holders, and it's just a bit strange. It works, but you also end up with a seam, and I like not having a seam. The thing is with seams, unless you're knitting in something incredibly, incredibly fine, you're gonna feel it in your shoes. So, I mean, I haven't had a feedback from Dad yet as to how he feels about his socks. Other than he really likes the colour and he really appreciates the gift, but I don't know whether he's worn them and what his thoughts are re seams, if he has any at all. But personally, it's not for me, although seaming with a crochet hook makes a really, really satisfying edge. Definitely going to try that again in the future, possibly as a decorative finish to a new design that I've got in the works. Not socks, before you worry, not socks. I am actually dabbling in designing a garment. It's been in the works for ages. It's one that I submitted to a magazine. It was my first ever submission. I submitted it like 3 minutes before the closing deadline. I had no idea what I was doing, so I'm not surprised at all that it wasn't selected. However, I've kind of been bitten by the designing bug, and I want to move on from designing socks. I love designing socks, but I want to expand my repertoire. And there's been a lot of discussion about what fits people and what suits people. And so I kind of want to, I feel like I've got something to contribute to this. I don't have the most orthodox shape. I am finding myself at the top end of most knitting patterns. I've been lots of different sizes, and I have lots of experience of feeling shunned, of not being able to find something to suit me, of things not being sized up effectively, both commercially and obviously in knitting as well. So I've got some ideas, and I want to have a play around with structure and see if I can help find a good fit, or possibly a way of making patterns that, regardless of your size, you can tailor to fit you. So it's not a one size fits all within a size, because I mean, I know there are lots of people who are my size who have smaller arms than me. I have quite big arms. Runs in my family. It's not a problem. I mean, there was a time when I started getting the children to rub the whiteboard down, because I would finish rubbing the whiteboard and my arms would keep going, and it was just uncomfortable more than anything else. And I'm going to be amazing at bingo later. That's what I'm warming up for. But that's just one example. I have quite a petite waist for my frame, but quite a wide rib cage, and so that means that waist shaping and yokes don't always fit me properly. So I think there's got to be something there. I'm really rambling. I'm meant to be talking about socks, and I've gone off on a complete tangent, so forgive me. Let's get back to socks. It was quite some time ago. It was actually last June. When Maddie Harvey came down from Scotland to teach cables at the yarn dispensary, that I cast on a pair of, was it Rum Paradise or Tequila Sunrise? Tequila Sunrise socks. So it's a Tequila Sunrise colourway from the West Yorkshire Spinners cocktail range in their signature 4-ply. £7.20 a ball, and I can comfortably get 2 pairs out of a ball. I did decide, however, to do contrasting heels and toes. I didn't make this decision until I'd already done the cuffs. So the cuffs are in the Tequila Sunrise colour. I'm going to put a picture up for you to have a look at while I'm talking about these. I actually whizzed through the first sock fairly quickly, got it done, I got the heel put in, and then I lost my mini skein. I bought a 50-gram skein from Coop Knits in the Soxier base, which is a merino nylon blend, so it works really well for socks, obviously, Soxier. And funnily enough, it actually matched really well to the pinky colour within the Tequila Sunrise socks. So I was really pleased with that. I did an afterthought heel, which Amy Florence taught me how to do. And she has recorded an updated tutorial for that on her channel, I believe. At least that's what I'm assuming, because I saw it on Instagram. I didn't actually read the full post properly, so maybe I should check that before I recommend it. But anyway, Amy taught me, and it was fantastic. I was terrified when I first cut into my first pair of socks, but now there's no stopping me. Anyway, let me show you the colourway. So I knit a complete pair of socks that do fit me and are currently on sock blockers at the oh no, hang on. No, I thought I had a sock. I don't. They're on sock blockers at the shop, but this is how much I've got left. Half a ball easily of the Tequila Sunrise, and I did actually end up buying a second skein to do the heel and toe on the second sock for the socks, yeah, but look how well they go together. Isn't it fab? I don't know why I'm showing you like this, because you're going to have seen the picture by now. But anyway, that is finished object number 1. On to finished object number 2. I love knitting with fine yarns. I love the fabric, I love the texture, I love the beautiful delicate changes in colour, especially if you're using a hand-dyed or a variegated yarn. However, I have discovered a newfound love of knitting in chunky. So at the yarn dispensary, we wanted to showcase some of our chunky yarns, which are beautiful, and patterns that make for a really quick, satisfying knit. The sort of thing that you can think, oh, it's cold, I could really do with a nice chunky cardigan or a nice chunky jumper, and actually get cast on and actually do, and have for the same winter season that you are in, without finishing it in summer and having to sew it up then. So I chose to do the 5 PM cardigan. Put a picture of the pattern here for you. As you can see, it is an oversized, slouchy, cozy, chuck it on and curl up cardigan. It's designed by Erica Knight with Thomas Ramsden, and it is using Erica Knight Maxi wool, which is 100% pure wool. It was so quick to knit. It was really satisfying. It was easy. I have got beginner and intermediate knitters doing it now, and I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with thick yarns, because there's just something about it. The feel of it through my fingers sometimes sets my teeth on edge a bit. And I'm sorry if that's happened to you now. You've started thinking about what might set your teeth on edge. Why do we do that? Why does someone say, oh, I don't like the sound of nails on chalkboard, it sets my teeth on edge? And you think, that doesn't set my teeth on edge. But you know what does? Cotton wool, or feet rubbing on the carpet. Oh, that is actually one of mine, and that's made me feel really weird. So yeah, However, I can honestly say that this yarn was actually really easy to work with. The pattern was really easy. I didn't make any mistakes, and that includes knitting on it on New Year's Eve with some really, really nice rum. So it passes the can you drink and knit test? Not that I'm recommending it. If you do, then please drink responsibly, to follow the advice given by the appropriate authorities, and be safe. Oops, what is this podcast becoming? So I omitted the pockets because a customer had knit it. I said customer, she's a friend. Carol had knit it several times, and she said that actually the first time she knit it, because it's quite a loose fabric, because of the nature of the pattern and of the yarn, actually, even if you sew them on really super neatly, it looks like you haven't sewn them on properly because you see your hands through the pockets. So I just decided, I thought, if I don't have to sew something on, I'm not going to. And so I omitted them, and I'm really, really pleased. I did take a finished object picture. It was in quite bad lighting. It was the overhead light, which is obviously quite yellow, and I was tired, but I was so proud. I just said, Alan, you've got to take a picture of me. So I got him to take a picture, and this is the result. Now, I firmly believe that this pattern is fantastic for both genders, all genders, and versatile. And I was chatting to a friend of mine, Rune, who is Norse Vintage on Instagram. Go give him a follow. His pictures are beautiful. He has a Nordic vintage market stall in Faversham, and he goes off and travels the world and finds beautiful things and brings them back and sells them on the market. I've actually got some beautiful fabrics from him that I'm going to be using for project bags this year. And this season's bag is going to be made with his fabric that he found. And I took him his coffee because I do that on a Saturday. It was a tradition that was started by the previous managers of the shop, and I've kept it going. So I took him out a coffee, and I said, you like the colour blue, don't you? It's your favourite colour, isn't it? And he said, yeah, it is. I said, well, go and have your picture taken in a cardigan for me. And so he came and we did a little mini photo shoot, and this is the result. The most dapper chap you have ever seen. This cardigan looks fantastic on him, and just goes to show that it's a really versatile knit. I do recommend it, and that is finished object number 2, and that is one that Vic sewed up for me, because I'm not entirely sure if I ever would have finished it at that point, because I'm one of these people. Has any of you ever done cross stitch? So I'm all over the place today like a blue bottle. Have you ever done cross stitch? Now, cross stitch is fabulous. It creates this kind of almost pointillism sometimes. You know, it's made up of little dots, perhaps on a bigger scale, so it looks almost pixelated rather than like pointillism. And quite often, cross stitches will have you backstitch around certain details to lift them from just the general colour. I hate doing that. Not because it's not worth it, not because it doesn't look good, but to me, in my mind, I've done all this cross stitch. I'm done. I am finished. Someone else is framing it. Why do I backstitch it? And I do tend to let whips languish and let cross stitches languish without those final details, which is a real shame, really. Because I suppose if you look at it that way, I've still wasted the time and effort that it took to knit or crochet or whatever. You wouldn't do that with a cake, would you? You wouldn't go, well, I've mixed up all the ingredients. Why should I put it in the oven? I've mixed the ingredients, therefore it is cake, yes? No. I'm ridiculous. Totally, totally ridiculous. And I am more than happy to own that. But anyway, Vic has been a total hero, and we got it done and got it ready for the window. On to finished object number 3. I am embracing blue. Having done that super quick cardie, I wanted to do a jumper, something even more simple and fast, and I picked another Erica Knight pattern in Max Yarn, this time using pale blue, and it's the simple sweater. Now, the reason I picked this one is because the pattern itself doesn't actually have a picture of the garment on the front. It has kind of a very stylized, almost like a fashion designer's sketch, an impression that they might show you before they make up the garment. And it's actually really hard to imagine what it's going to look like properly. So I thought, well, we've got a glut of these patterns. I'm willing to bet that's why. I'll knit it up. It was so fast. I had the whole thing done in almost a week, and it would have been done right at the beginning of February had it not been for me needing to take some time out just in the middle of February there. And finally finished it last week. It was sewn up on Friday and went into the window eventually, and I'm really proud of it. And I took some pictures here. It was a windy day. I had a Marilyn moment. It was really embarrassing because it was market day as well, and so everyone was looking at me, but it's fine, it's fine. Cozy knit. Now this is where I'm going to have a grumble. I knit the biggest size. The biggest size finishes at a 42-inch bust. I'm a 42.5-inch bust, and I know that I have not got the biggest bazoomas out there. I know that there are some fantastically well-endowed women who are totally statuesque and utterly beautiful, whose breasts would not fit in that jumper. Why does it only go up to a 42? It's ridiculous. And I am relatively lucky, I know this, although I am at the top end of what commercial designs tend to cater for. I can usually find a pattern to knit for myself, but the fact of the matter is that it just highlights how lacking in size inclusivity this is. So I will not be replacing that pattern, and I am seeking to work with size inclusive designers going forward. I realise I'm talking a lot about the yarn dispensary here, but that's the knitting I've been doing lately. And I know some people think it's a bit strange, you know, oh, we come to hear about it. Well, you are hearing about knitting. It's just knitting with both my hats on. Knitting and crochet with both my hats on. Right, on to then whips. Oh no, did I say I had 4 finished objects? Oh yeah, the 4th one I can't actually show you, so I'll talk about that next time. All right, on to whips. I have not done much at all to my granny square blanket, so I'm not granny stripe blanket, so I'm not actually going to get that out and show you. I am, however, ooh, that got close. I am, however, going to show you my frozen fractal sweater for Magnus, which had to be put aside so I could finish my jobs for the shop. But it is going really well. I am well into the second chart. I'm actually about to split for the sleeves, and I just love it. So there's a definite blue theme, which actually seems really appropriate with what I'm about to talk to you about for the project bag in a bit, but I absolutely love it, and I'm pretty sure it will still fit him. I've been quite slow, but I think it will still fit. I am using a Falkland Merino Aran in the pale blue, and I'm using the Croft colours from, which is Shetland Tweed from West Yorkshire Spinners in, I can't remember the name of this blue, but it's a beautiful rich blue colour, and that is from West Yorkshire Spinners. So that's going well. The next whip I have to show you is a real tease. This is, again, it's blue. Theme. This is the cast on edge of my latest sock design, which is a picot edge, and that is all I'm going to tell you so far. So as you can see, although I've been working a lot, there has not been too much in the way of knitting progress. I am really enjoying crocheting, and at the moment I'm working on crocheting leaves for a wreath to go in the window of the shop for Anna Nikiforovich's new book, Crocheted Wreaths for the Home, which I'm super stoked for, not super stoked for, goodness me, I can't even talk. Oh, Anna is just the loveliest human. I am really excited because I get to work with her lots this year. She is actually going to design for the project bag Christmas Eve box this year. I can reveal her as a designer. So excited for that. I'm going to be dyeing the yarn soon to send her a skein to do her design with, and I'm sending a skein to another designer for the knitting pattern that will be provided with the Christmas Eve boxes this year. And how amazing that I'm in the position to host things in my job that support people in our industry. very, very excited to be having an event to launch Anna's book. And so I'm doing, these are the cutest things and so totally addictive. Lots and lots of leaves. It's like leaves everywhere. Throwing the leaves up, but they're spring leaves. Okay, so I've done 25 leaves so far, and I've got another 15 to go, I think. So there's the teeny tiny leaf here, and yes, it really is that green. I'm doing it in cotton. And then there's, where's the next size up? Okay, small leaf with outline. So it's the next size up, you can see. And now I'm working on the next size up again, which is that one. No. Oh, I definitely have done a next size. Oh, there we go. There. But it turns out I've actually missed out a round, so it should even be bigger. So yeah, lots and lots of leaves, and I've got a whole bag of goodies. Whole bag of goodies from the shop to work with, and you can see we're going for purples and a bit of yellow as well. I've got some pip colour work in there. So that's it really. That's it for knitting crochet creative content. Now the sketchbook boxes are once a month, no, every other month, so 6 a year. This year's theme is the Impressionists, the artists, and the idea is that the most fun I have dyeing yarn is when I don't actually write it down and I'm just having a play, and I call those my sketchbook skeins. And so I thought what I would do is produce kind of one-off sets of skeins that I don't sell in my shop, at least not for a year anyway, and send them out as a little subscription box. You don't have to subscribe for every month. And yeah, last month's theme was, last month's artist was Edgar Degas, and I absolutely love, and I say this about my own yarn, I absolutely love what I achieved. I picked one of his ballerina pictures, obviously iconic, but perhaps not the one that most people are familiar with, and that is this one here. And if you're ready to see, this is the yarn I produced. I'm really, really pleased with it. I sent little ballet stitch markers off, a little postcard that you colour in yourself of the masterpiece, and a little sticker saying dance like no one's watching. And they went out last week and they have been really well received. And the new box is April's box. The sign-ups open now, and they'll be open for the whole of March or until they sell out, whichever happens first. And you've got the option to add a second skein as well if you wish. So despite not being meant to buy any yarn, I have quite the stash enhancement to share with you. It was Valentine's Day last month and I just came out with it and told my husband what I wanted. Marcus, who is Fiberpunk, produced 2, 3, or is it 4? Anyway, a collection of beautiful yarns for Valentine's. I was particularly taken with his darker self-striping, and I said to my husband I would really like a skein of Marcus's Valentine yarn, don't mind which one, for Valentine's Day, and he got me this, and I adore it. It's actually even prettier in real life than it is, and I'm not a pink person, but I'm embracing this pink right now, totally embracing the pink. And Marcus, because he is lovely, sent me a little Valentine's gift of his own, which was a gorgeous skein of his self-striping, and this is in Merfolk, because he knows I love me a blue. And actually, I think I'm going to talk to you about my plans now. I've been mulling something over in my mind for a little while, since I've been doing more and more of this, and I've decided that I'm going to be rebranding the project bag. I've already decided what I want my ball bands to be like and where I want my focus to go. I'm having a new logo designed, and I'm not going to reveal too much about it. No, I will. Okay, I will. It's going to be navy blue ball bands, and it's just going to be fun. I'm going to get rid of the project bag image, and it's just going to be the project bag in gold, and I'm really excited about that. But something hit me the other night. It was nearly midnight and I was working on the Project Bag website trying to get it to go with my new aesthetic. And I thought, right, I must dye some yarn. And as I headed into the kitchen, I suddenly thought, goodness, you know, the Project Bag really isn't the best name for this business. It doesn't really sum up everything I do anymore. And because it's evolved, I said, and I thought to myself, the hours I keep, it might as well be the Midnight Diary. And I really like this idea. What do you think about, I mean, because you've been on this journey with me, what do you guys think about the possibility of a complete rebrand? Is it completely mad when I've spent 2 years, best part of 2 years building up the Project Bag and my identity, to have a total rebrand, rename the business, do the whole thing? I don't know. I know my aesthetic is going much more towards the blues. I'm going to focus on blues, the blue spectrum, and complementary shades for my colorways. You can see this already coming through in my new spring collection 2020. The fabrics that I'm choosing to work with for my new project bags will be in blues as well. My ball band's going to be navy blue. The yarns have names like Aurora Borealis, which is one of my signature collection, Moonlight Shadow, Earth's Shadow, which actually Earth's Shadow is that thing when the sun's starting to set and it dips below the horizon, the earth itself causes a shadow, and if you're driving along and look in your rearview mirror, you can actually see it, and it's really amazing to see. So my husband and I saw it quite a bit when we were driving last year, hence the name Earth's Shadow. And the more I think about it, the more taken I am with the idea of becoming the Midnight Diary, because I tend to do more dyeing than anything else now anyway. What do you think? Am I completely mad, or is this exciting and where I should be going? I don't know. So let's move on and talk about Unravel, shall we? It is fairly close to me. It's in Farnham in Surrey. There are 3 that are quite close to me, although there's a 4th being added this year. Possibly the closest is Waltham Abbey. It's under an hour to get to, and that's off the M25. Fibre East in Ampthill I go to every year as a visitor, and that is in Ampthill and Bedford, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours depending on the traffic. And Unravel is in Farnham in Surrey, which again is about an hour and a half away, dependent on traffic. It could be longer, depends how bad the traffic is. About an hour and a half. And so this is only the 2nd year I went to Unravel. I went to Unravel last year on the Sunday because my friend Amy was vending there with Stranded Dye Works, and she said, are you coming down? Let's have a meet up, come out for dinner with me and some others. And we had a wonderful time, went out with Ellie and Caroline, who is Dundonit, and Hannah, who's the Corner of Craft, and of course Mary, the Stranded Elf, and we had a really lovely meal and it was great. And actually I really enjoyed Unravel. It was my first time going. So we decided to go this year to see more dyers, and I wanted to check it out with the potential of applying there next year. I'm not sure if I will or not yet, we'll see. But yes, I did some yarn squishing, and considering I'm not meant to be buying any yarn, I did some damage, I tell you. And it will come as no surprise to you to hear that most of what I bought is blue. My first stop had to, of course, be Whistlebear. Long-term viewers of the podcast will know that this is where my puppy came from. He is a Whistlebear pup. Alice, who has Whistlebear Farm, has the most beautiful lurcher, who's a poodle whippet cross, who had her first litter this year, and I was lucky enough to be able to give one of them a forever home, and he comes to the yarn shop with me. So this is Whistlebear's beautiful logo, which is the sign that hangs at the gate of the farm as you drive up to it. It's very exciting. And I bought a few things, one of which was a pin badge. I bought a pin badge of the logo for myself, and I got a pin badge for Magnus to wear on his harness, and I'll put a picture here. Laura of the Lonely Knitter gave me a safer back for Magnus to wear on his harness, because the little claspy ones probably aren't ideal for animals. And while I was there chatting to Alice and saying hi, because obviously it's always lovely to see her, and Whistlebear is in Berwick-upon-Tweed, so it's practically Scotland, and so I had to stop and have a chat with Alice and Tess. And while I was there, I put my hand out and stroked the Yevering bell, which is something I have not seen in the flesh before, but shines in photographs. Maddie Harvey's designed with it, her beautiful bamboo shawl uses it, and I just stroked it. And then not one, but 2 orphan skeins of the Yevering bell in Arran fell into my basket. Isn't it glorious? The sheen on that, you can't make that up. It's, look at it. So we've got this beautiful aqua blue and this rich deep purple, and I'm actually going to put them together. This is a design idea. I'm not going to say much about it now. You will probably not see this for another year, but it's there. Now the Yevering bell is 80% of Whistlebear's own mohair and 20% of Whistlebear's own Wensleydale wool, at least 175 meters, and it's an Arran yarn. So this is the Causeway colourway, and this is Edwin's Cloak. Now these are orphan skeins, so perhaps they were the last of a dye lot, or perhaps they came out slightly different to how Alice was expecting. I've got no idea what her requirements were. I didn't ask because I didn't care, because I thought they were beautiful and they were coming home with me. And at the end of the day, it's all that matters, right? If you like it, you like it. So yeah, can't wait to design in this. I have my design in my head. I'm so excited about it, and I really hope it works. Fingers crossed. Just to show you, that is one of Whistlebear's mohair goats there, Angora goats, and you can see, there we are, all the information, including the studio, which in the 2 times I went to see it, went to see Alice, I was actually too shy to ask if I could go in and have a look around. So, oh no, 3 times, once to meet Magnus, once to pick Magnus up, and once to visit with Magnus on the way to Scotland. So 3 times since September isn't bad, is it? Then we were wandering around Unravel, and we happened upon the Ching stand. And they had almost like a Lazy Susan, or Lazy Susan, the thing you put in your cupboards and you spin it around, you can see the sources. And it had something written on it. I thought, what's this? And I looked down, I saw £5 a spin. Every spin wins a prize. And I looked at the prizes, and the worst thing you could get was a pattern. That was the worst thing. It's incredible. So I spun. Gemma, who never wins anything, won a skein of Ching fibre. There's no colourway name on this, but it is sock 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon, 425 meters. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. If you were to say, Gemma, what is your colour that you're least likely to work with, it probably would be this, but it's so beautiful. I don't know what it'll become. I don't know if it's going to be a giveaway. I don't know if it's going to be a stash swap with a friend. We shall have to see. We shall have to see. Then it was off to find Lola and Angie at Third Vault Yarns. Third Vault Yarns is run by Lola, but she is really good friends with Angie, and they often, who's Game of Crafting, they often help each other out. And I was really excited to see them, and particularly excited to see this. This is 100% bamboo, one of Lola's new bases. It's gorgeous. The sheen again, and also blue. At Waltham Abbey Wool Show, when we walked into the first room, and Angie and Lola Game of Crafting had a stand and Third Vault Yarns had a stand, they were both right there. And Lola just walked up and basically rubbed bamboo on my arm, and I've been thinking about it ever since. And so I did say, bearing in mind this was Sunday afternoon, quite late, I said, if they've got any, I'm going. And someone said to me, oh no, she had hardly any left. So I went, and I was really drawn to this one, which actually goes really well with Another Worldly Yarns colourway. So if I wanted to do something textural, I could. And this again is a one of a kind. So if you don't get it, that's it. It's gone. And I said to Lola, why are you doing this to me? She said, well, this one's one of a kind as well. These are meant to be together. Look at it. It's like water lilies and merfolk and it's all the things that I can't possibly find the words to describe. And so these are going together. I have an idea. I know what I want to do. Watch this space. Now, my final, not quite my final purchase, I purchased from Ted's Knits, but one of my final purchases, as you know, I've decided to just get a mini skein at shows, and the mini skein will go into my blanket, my granny stripe blanket, as a kind of postcard, a memory, if you will, of where I've been in the shows I go to. However, there's this lovely woman called Vicky who is complete trouble. She runs Westscreen Loft yarns, which has got the most beautiful aesthetic. I am not a pink person, bear this in mind. I bought pink. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 mini skeins, which are going to go together, she doesn't know this yet, and become a design. I cannot wait to cast this on. I am super excited for this one. It is going to be a spring cowl, and there is one more colour to go in there as well. Actually, I'm just going to use undyed to finish it off. And this is a classic sock mini 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. And her colourways are all inspired by vintage fabrics, which you can totally see when you see the stand. You just get it straight away. She's also a really lovely person. So unfortunately, I ended up with 4 minis. But it's worth it, right? It's work at this point. That's fine. That was not quite my final stop. I went to Selina Jane Art, who does the most beautiful sketches. I didn't actually purchase one to take away with me because it was the end of the day. I had reached my limit and possibly gone beyond it. Lola, looking at you, your fault. I hold you entirely responsible for tempting me. No, it's my own fault really, isn't it? I'm the one controlling my own purse strings. But her art is just beautiful, and I really, really recommend you check her out. I don't have any pictures because I didn't take any. We were too busy having a chat. She had the most fabulous dress on, which is a cartoon print of like, you know, like a comic strip print of someone knitting a jumper. And it's just fab. And yeah, wonderful. Can't speak highly enough of her. She's absolutely lovely. Then I was doing some serious research for the shop. I did actually visit Yarn Tellier, which is Louisa Harding's stand, and bought a skein of her cashmere, which I have given to a friend as a gift. And what's fascinating about that cashmere is actually they leave the spinning oils in it, so it doesn't feel like cashmere. You touch it and you think, well, that's not cashmere, that doesn't feel soft. Oh, soft enough to be cashmere, it is very soft. And she explained that actually by leaving some of the spinning oils in there, you protect the yarn from your fingers as you work the yarn, which is a genius idea because we all know how delicate cashmere is. And she said, and then when you've done and you wash and block it, cashmere, which didn't say it quite like that, but basically, poof, cashmere, which would be wonderful. So can't wait to see how that works up. And I'm really looking forward to doing more with her in the future. And then look at this. This yarn is from Mrs. Moon and it is called Puddin'. Well, it's not, it's called pudding, but I like saying puddin'. And it's perfect for babies. It's machine washable. It's £3 something a ball. And it's 80% superfine sustainable merino and 20% baby alpaca. Now, interestingly, I was having a discussion the other day, and there's a bit of a myth that if you say baby alpaca, or, you know, yeah, if you say baby alpaca, some people think that means alpaca yarn for babies. Actually, what it means is it's the first shear of the animal, so it will never quite be that soft again, because obviously the animal matures and the fleece changes, so it refers to the first shear. So there's a fun fact for you. And I really like this little pudding. This particular ball is going to become, how many meters are there on this tiny little thing? It's a DK weight yarn. Doesn't actually have the meterage. Oh yeah, 62 meters. There we are. 62 meters. I think that is going to be enough to do a little baby hat or little baby booties. I've got some very dear friends who are expecting little girls. One last month, she's late, and one in April. And these people are really special to me. So as soon as babies are here safely, I'm going to be casting on. And that's it. That's the lot. That's the podcast. I have no Cal news other than to say keep your progress threads going in my Ravelry group for the Nelle 31 in 2020. As you know, I've decided not to do it with casting on 31 things because my whips were out of control, and that's me saying that. But I am going to try and finish 31 things in 2020. And I'm off to a good start because it's February and I have knit a complete sweater. Okay, it was in chunky yarn, but still. I have knit a yarny. I have knit well, more about that next time because that's my fourth finished object. I've finished 2 pairs of socks and I have knit a cardigan. So I've got 5 finished objects already and we're only on the 2nd of March. So I think I can possibly do this. I know my rate probably needs to speed up a little, but hopefully you'll cheer me on. And if you have taken part in the 31 in 2020, power to your elbow. Looking forward to seeing your progress in the group chats. Final thing is to say the project bag lace along is continuing. I'm going to draw a random prize after I've recorded this and gift a pattern to one lucky recipient. There you are. Well done. And that's it from me. The thread's going to stay open. We're going to carry on making beautiful lace things because we love lace. Why not? And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. Let me know what you think about my ideas for the project bag. I've kind of got that flutterby feeling in your tummy when you're a bit nervous and you're not sure if you're making a really big mistake or if you're about to do something absolutely genius. Who knows? Have a very crafty few weeks, however long it is until I talk to you again. I really hope that my computer lets me edit this and lets me share this with you. If you see lots of really stressed out Instagram stories, you know what's happened. Take care. Bye.